Hi folks, Hugo Rivera here with HugoRivera.net, bringing you another episode where I cover a fitness topic and then we'll go ahead and do a quick Q&A at the end. Today I'm going to be talking about high reps versus low reps when you're training, okay? I still hear this whole myth of like, you gotta do high reps to go ahead and burn fat and you have to do low reps, heavy weight to go ahead and gain muscle. So, this is a myth that has gone for many, many years. So, I mean, if any of you started back in the day, like I did, basically you'll be hearing how, well, you need to go ahead and do some really heavy weights to go ahead and build muscle and whatnot. Here's the deal when it comes to weight selection, okay? First and foremost, you need a program that is periodized, like I have talked about before. So you need to do some weeks of higher repetition training, lighter weight, and some weeks of like heavier weights and lower repetition training. Furthermore, during the higher repetition phases, what I like to do is that I like to increase the volume, meaning that I like to do a little bit more sets than I do on my lower repetition phases. And I also do less rest in between sets, okay? That is the ticket right there, because what I like to do is that for like 3 to 4 weeks, I like to push the body close to overtraining, and then I pull back. And the way that I pull back is by adding more rest in between sets, by lowering the repetition count, but increasing the weight, okay? Now, with that said, here's the deal. A periodized routine will go ahead and make sure that you're pushing your body, and it's going to make sure that your body is growing in terms of muscle size. The best routine for your body is the routine that your body's not used to. That's the key thing to remember. So by periodizing the routine like this, you keep shocking the muscle, okay, and making your body grow. The whole thing about high reps for burning fat and low reps for building muscle is really a myth. You actually need both repetition ranges to accomplish, both muscle building and fat loss, okay? The fat loss will really occur thanks to the diet. That's the ticket right there. So if you have the right nutrition plan and you're feeding your body just enough calories to continue the muscle building process, but allowing the body to go ahead and lose fat, that's the ticket right there, okay? So the diet is what will determine if you're losing body fat or if you're gaining muscle exclusively, okay? That's the whole ticket. Your routine should always be periodized. So whether you're in a hardcore fat loss phase or a hardcore muscle building only phase, you need to just follow a periodized routine. That's the deal right there, okay? In terms of weight selection, here's what's going to happen. What I like to do is that for my high repetition phases, I like to do 12 repetitions and above. So you're going to select a weight that allows you to perform those reps in perfect form, okay? If you can do, like, let's say, for example, that for a high repetition phase, I decide to do 15 to 18 repetitions during that week, okay? So I'm going to choose a weight that allows me to reach failure between the 15 to 18 repetition range. That's the ticket. What's going to happen is that when I reach failure is the point in which I can no longer do another repetition in proper form, okay? So if the next rep, I can complete it, but it will break my form, then it's a rep I'm not going to go ahead and do, all right? That's how I do it. So my definition of failure is that last repetition where you cannot accomplish, is the last repetition that you can accomplish with good form. That's my definition of failure. So if you can do more than 18 repetitions in a routine that tells you that you need to do between 15 to 18, then you need to up the weight. Okay, just up the weight on the next set. If you do less than 15, then you just go ahead and reduce the weight. So you can go ahead and actually do the 15 to 18. Okay, so this is how you go ahead and select your rep count. That's the whole ticket right there. Is based on what the routine calls out for. Okay, so you just base your weight selection on the rep count. The other thing too is not to worry so much about how much weight you're lifting. I mean, we're not power lifters. We're here to go ahead and build a physique, right? So the ticket is to just use the weights as a tool. Just select the weight that you need to complete the allotted amount of repetitions, and that is the right weight for you. Okay, when you're doing a heavier phase, let's say that you're doing 8 to 10 reps, then you just make sure that you up the weight, and you can do and complete, you know, between the 8 to 10 repetitions. If you go above 10, then you up the weight. If you cannot do 8, then you go ahead and lower the weight. That's the ticket to ensure that you're right where you need to be. The other thing too that I like to do is that for higher repetition weeks, I like to go into a more rhythmic sort of tempo, okay? And for the lower repetition weeks, I like to slow down the repetition. So basically what I do is I may take 3 to 4 seconds to go down, and then I'll go ahead and take a couple of seconds to go up, and I may have a 1 second contraction at the top. Okay, what this allows me to do is that in this manner, I'm increasing the time under tension. Okay, time under tension is key for building muscle, and it also helps you with fat loss as well, right? Here's the deal. By doing this, I don't need to lift as heavy as I could. What that does is that it protects my joints, because what happens is that if you have a properly periodized program that alternates between the higher repetitions and the lower repetitions, when you go into the lower repetition weeks, your strength is going to go up dramatically, okay? Because for 3 to 4 weeks, you were pushing, so your body couldn't really go in strength, because you're really irritating the body and you're pushing it almost to overtraining. But then when you scale back, that's when the body starts overcompensating and you start getting all this growth and all this strength gains, okay? Provided that also your diet is correct. At either rate, what happens is that the muscle grows much faster in strength than your connective tissue, all right? So what happens if you go too hard, too fast in terms of like how much weight you can lift is that your joints can go ahead and take a beating, all right? So even though you're feeling great as you're doing the exercise, you say, wow, this is light. The next day, you're going to be feeling it in your joints. So what I like to do to prevent this from happening is that I just slow down the repetition. So 3 to 4 seconds on the way down, a couple of seconds on the way up, and maybe a 1 second contraction at the top. That allows you to, you know, work with lighter weights and be safe at the same time. So this is a tip that I can go ahead and offer everybody. Again, for those of you that are asking about a routine, I'll be posting over here my free 21-day program, so that way you can go ahead and download it, and that program shows you how to do, you know, the higher repetition counts weeks and then the lower rep counts. So I have the full program over there, so you can go ahead and try it out. And I do have some great diet tips as well that are offered, so you know how to set up your diet and everything. So, you know, that's pretty much it for today when it comes to this topic. But just remember the following: it's a big myth, okay, that high reps for cutting, low reps for building. It's you need both, all right? In fact, there are studies that indicate that even super high rep counts, and I've tested this with myself and also with my clients, super high rep counts of like 20 to 30 repetitions will also contribute to hypertrophy, muscle gain. So that's, again, you know, the whole thing of like, oh, you know, people ask me in the streets all the time, you lift heavy? I'm like, well, it depends. Granted, over time, your strength is going to grow, of course. So, I mean, you know, like I could do these days, I don't know, on the incline bench, I could bench press 225 for like 15 repetitions, you know, so that's my lighter weight, right? But back in the day when I was starting out, that kind of weight would have crushed me. So heavy weights is kind of like a relative term, okay? So suffice it to say, just to conclude over here, the key thing is that you do the higher repetition weeks and you do the lower repetition weeks, and then you just select a weight that allows you to complete the repetitions with good form, okay? That's the way that you need. Anyways, like I said, that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and answer. Let me see some questions here. Hold on, bear with me. I don't see them there. One sec. Hey, Ashok, how are you, man? All right. Let's see. All right, somebody's asking over here about training first thing in the morning. Okay, training first thing in the morning. If you train first thing in the morning, that's fine. Just go ahead and do it on a fasted state, meaning that, you know, without eating. The ticket here is that you supply yourself with some good water. I mean, if nothing else, Definitely hydrate yourself properly. Have at least 16 ounces of water before you go ahead and train, because the worst thing that you can do is to train on a dehydrated state, because it's going to really raise your cortisol levels. Okay, so definitely have some water. Nothing wrong with having a little bit of caffeine. You know, if you want to have 200 milligrams of caffeine in the morning and you're tolerant to it, that's fine. If not, you don't need the caffeine then. You know, you could also do some pre-workout supplements in the morning at that time as well. And if you're not into that stuff either, then like I said, the most important thing is that you go ahead and take the water before the before the workout. Super important. If you want to do some branched chain amino acids too at that time, that's great also. It goes ahead and protect the muscle tissue. In terms of losing muscle, if you train on a fasted state, only if you're a naturally skinny person, okay, only in that case I will be against training first thing in the morning, because that sort of person has a super fast metabolism and it's just super easy for them to go ahead and lose muscle if they don't have the nutrition inside. But for most of us who have a normal metabolism or a slow metabolism, training first thing in the morning is not a problem at all. Okay, just like I said, make sure that you stay hydrated and you should be good to go. Okay, I have another question over here. Let's see. Training chest and triceps together, is it good or bad? No, I mean, there are many ways to go ahead and pair up your routines. You know, I've seen routines where you do chest, shoulders, and triceps one day, back, biceps, and calves another day, and then thighs, hamstrings, and abs another day. My favorite is that on one day I do chest, back, and calves, another day shoulders and arms, and then another day thighs, hamstrings, and abs. Okay, as you will see in my free 21-day program that I'm posting over here, or on my YouTube routines. Okay, so yeah, there are many ways to go ahead and pair body parts. So yeah, don't be afraid to go ahead and do chest and triceps on one workout. That sounds good. How can I get the proper shape of bicep? Well, to be quite honest with you, the ticket for the biceps is like anything else. You know, you need a periodized workout, and a workout that is changing the not only the repetitions in the phases, but it's also changing the exercises as well. Because if you keep doing the same thing, it's just not going to go ahead and work out for you. So treat the biceps just like you treat any other kind of muscle. And if you go into my YouTube routines, just go to HugoRivera.tv. It's going to take you to my YouTube channel, and you'll see many of my bicep routines, and you'll see a lot of my vlogs where I show exactly how I train the biceps with my other body parts. Typically, I do biceps with shoulders and triceps, so you'll see all my routines over there. And also in the free 21-day program that I'm posting over here, you'll be able to go ahead and see my routines as well. And also, if you want, here are my books. I have the Body Sculpting Bible for Men, and I have the one for the ladies as well. And in these books, which are pretty hefty, I have tons and tons of routines as well that you can go ahead and use. So, I mean, you can go ahead and check out my books for more routines. You can check out my YouTube channel. You can check out my free 21-day program, and you'll have routines over there, not only for the biceps, but for everything else as well. Okay? Anyways, that's all the time that I have for today, because I actually have a chiropractor appointment. But anyways, it's been great, as always, sharing some time over here with all of you and helping you out. Any other questions that you may have, just go ahead and feel free to email them to me. Just go to HugoRivera.net, or you can email me at Hugo@HugoRivera.net. Just shoot me some questions, and I'll be happy to cover them in the show. And also, of course, you can also ask me questions over here as I'm live. But anyways, that's it for today, and until next time, take care and train hard.